we're talking Transformers, specifically the Michael Bay universe. Started in the early 2000s, going into the late 2010s. Specifically because they're coming back. Michael Bay is returning to his probably best franchise. I mean, probably best movie. I mean, let's be honest. I know there's probably a lot of Michael Bay Transformer haters out there, but I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them. And I mean, that's for a good reason. I mean, Shia LaBeouf played a great. He set the universe up so well. Uh, there's there's something about him. They got Optimus Prime right. Cool fights, cool CGI. They really just like kind of innovated the CGI sector of movies. Like that's kind of what I feel like that's what you want to achieve when you make a movie that relies so heavily on CGI and these making making these drastic and you know huge movements of machinery come together and look so good on the big screen. Um, and I want to talk about the Michael Bay universe a little bit because I feel like they didn't get the love that they really deserved in the once when they were releasing. Um, I think there's a lot of Michael Bay hate because I mean it's kind of just cool fights and doesn't really flesh out the Cybertron. It kind of does a little bit later, but I think that was maybe like the more of the gripe with it towards the start was it was too heavily focused on this relationship with Earth, and I think that's what's coming back to. It's coming back with Unicron in the new one because I mean that's how the final Michael Bay movie ended was like whoever that was in the desert talking about Unicron. Um, and then I think it panned out and it showed all of Earth or something. But I mean, it was, Mark Wahlberg's movies weren't as great in my opinion as Shia LaBeouf's. I think Shia LaBeouf played a very good main role in those first two movies, and I think it got a little worse. I mean, you can't really fault Michael Bay for kind of what happened with Shia LaBeouf, but I mean, hope right now wish Shia LaBeouf, you know, road to recovery, and all in that. But that's not what we're really here to talk about. Let's talk about the new movie, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Transformers One, the animated film that came out last year, because I never got really a chance to see it when it came out, and I really wanted to see it. I'm a pretty big Transformers fan. I watched a lot of the animated uh, TV show growing up, and I had a Wii game that I forget what it was called, but it was like you could fight. It was it was made after the second, not like the animated series that came out in like the early 2010s. What was it called? I can't remember, but it had Ratchet, it had Bumblebee, it had Optimus Prime, Starscream, and the RC was the motorbike lady, and all of them you could fight in like a you fight on the Wii with your brother, whoever you had to play with you, and that was a lot of fun. That game was a lot of fun, and I would always play Optimus Prime. He had the cool battle axe and the sword and the blaster. My brother would play Bumblebee, and then my cousin play? I forget what my cousin. I don't think he played Starscream, but anyway, I'm it's like a pretty important franchise. At least it was an important in those days. I've kind of lost a lot of the memories, but I still I wish good things upon the Transformers universe, and I think this is exciting. I think this is a good way. I wasn't really a fan of the Bumblebee movie that was featured John Cena, but no hate to John Cena. I really wish they would move away from uh, maybe such like just big names to kind of draw in crowds and things like that. But anyway, that's not where we're talking about the new movie and Transformers One, and I'm gonna watch that tomorrow, Transformers One, because I finally got a place to watch it on, and excited to watch it to kind of see, because I think it flopped a little bit. I heard of a little bit about it flopped, and like there wasn't like the marketing for it wasn't real well, and everyone was like really excited about it and or really like impressed by the movie that they didn't feel like it had a strong push to get people to watch it. Uh, but that's what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Might make a video on that depending on how well I what I think about it. And I wanted to talk a little bit, I really want to just get some hype going around this Transformers continuation of the story. Um, so I mean, like, I'm not sure where the Transformers universe went wrong uh, with because they had the reboot where it was the Bumblebee, and then the you know the GI Joe. I think like there's a teaser at the Beast movie. What was it? I forget what was that one called? It was a second. It was a prequel to the Bumblebee movie standalone film that had everybody, and then that one guy got like a power suit transformer. What was it called? Beast? Something Beast. Rise of the Beast? I think it was Rise of the Beast. Um, but they made that one, and I wasn't a real big fan of it. There were some cool fights, I think, and I wasn't a huge fan of Optimus Prime's portrayal in that one. And I think linking it to the GI Joe franchise is a little bit of a poor play. Um, but I mean, I didn't really grow up with a GI Joe background, um, so maybe that's my own fault, and maybe I haven't talked to enough people to know if the GI Joe thing was seen more positively in a lot of people's eyes. But I just don't know like where like I'm not sure why you make that spinoff from the Michael Bay movies. Like I feel like the Michael Bay movies, even though I felt like a lot of them didn't consider them to be maybe faithful. I don't know if faithful to the story is, or to the Transformers lore is the best word, but I really think that he they did a good job with those movies, and they were enjoyable and they were fun. I remember watching Age of Extinction. I was like 10 years old. I was watching it with my grandma, and there were like all the skulls, and I was like, "What is going on? What's going on here?" Because it was like, is this is a PG-13 movie, and we're showing all these skulls, and it was like, it made it feel as a kid, it doesn't really mean anything much now, but as a kid, it was like the Decepticons are really, you know, doing some bad things here, guys. Optimus Prime, you got to step in. Um, so I think it added and it wasn't like excessive. I think they were like blasting them to ashes or something. But I mean, it like wasn't excessive violence. That don't like it wasn't like John Wick level of violence or anything like that. It was just Transformers, and Transformers were going to, or the Decepticons were going to take over Earth. So that I think like that kind of encapsulates why I think, because it brings such a general appeal to the public, because it's not just a, because I think it's easy to do just a movie about Transformers, but it's hard to make a movie that has a plot that doesn't necessarily not involve the Transformers, but it's not only held together by the Transformers. I think it's important to have a plot that stands alone by itself, and then you add to the IP, or you add the IP to make this feature film that's going to make you a gajillion dollars. hopefully, or whatever, because people are such fans of it. And I think the Michael Bay movies do that a lot, especially the first set before Mark Wahlberg got in the mix. But I think even the Mark Wahlberg movies are fine, and they have cool fights. I mean, I don't think the CGI, which is kind of the main appeal, like the main, that's the trophy, of the movies. Like that's the showpiece is the CGI in a lot of aspects, I think. And I think the Michael Bay movies didn't get the respect they deserved. But maybe they will this time, after we've had three movie iterations of different, I mean, one's animated, but different portrayals of the Autobots and the Decepticons. Maybe they'll be a little more appreciative about this one. But I'll watch Transformers 1 tomorrow. Might make a video on that, depending on how I feel about it. But um, just wanted to talk about Transformers a little bit because I just want to, make sure that uh, the franchise does well because I had a lot of fun with it growing up, and it's a fun franchise. I think Optimus Prime is a really cool hero. I think the Autobots as a group is like one of the best fictional groups probably ever. Like being an Autobot would be cool. And the Decepticons, the rivalry is cool. And I mean, I'm saying cool a lot, but it's cool. Transformers are cool. And sorry, sorry, officer. Yeah, lock me up, lock me up. But I think Transformers are cool. And yeah, but I'll I'll watch Transformers 1 to you know because I wanted to watch that movie. I promise, guys. But I never got around to go to the movie theater, so gotta watch it. Thank you. Subscribe or don't. Do you?